And APB, American Protection Bureau, voted #1 best on Long Island for all your security needs. Call 631-390-9050. That's 631-390-9050. APB.
Again, going back to this dude from Guardian Chaos, yeah, we've never been in the ring. We never claimed to be in the ring. We're not wrestling experts. We never claimed to be a wrestling expert. We're two fans that started a show that took off. People enjoyed the comedy aspect of it and the different aspect of it. Look, there's 1,000 people doing shoot interviews asking about what happened in Madison Square Garden, right? I mean, go back to, the original Mancini interview. Now, again, Mario, who was on Power and Glory podcast, and that's my next question before I even get into that. Why is every wrestler only refer to themselves when they were in the WWE? You never see these guys talk about Mid-South, they use a Mid-South tag team name for their podcast. It's always the WWE guy that they portrayed. What is that all about?
Oh, that's all about the paycheck, the notoriety, and the popularity. The end. They're doing what's wise businessly. Wouldn't you agree? I bet you would.
Well, I mean, this goes back to what started last week's show, right? So Vince McMahon, regardless what you feel about his sexual escapades and everything else, and again, more people want to consider him guilty before he's even proven in court otherwise, right? Again, in this country, we're innocent until proven guilty.
Supposedly.
But that seems to be an issue here, right?
And
again,
of course.
So here's Mancini. He's on the Power and Glory podcast, right? Which Power and Glory, refers to Roma and Hercules, the great Hercules Hernandez.
Right.
So the issue I had that started the show last week was this. Mario Mancini's on a lot of podcasts, a lot, right?
Okay.
Everywhere. And when he originally came on our show, right? So on the Power and Glory podcast, he said he did our show and we had technical difficulties.
We
had technical difficulties. And it was the worst interview he ever was on. He couldn't wait for it to end, which is fair. If that's what he felt, that's all well and good. But if I could really tell the truth here, I spoke to Mario, and I'm using his shoot name, right? So, I mean, not his shoot name, his work name.
Right.
Oh, wait, I should not be using wrestling terminologies according to
I can't
Paul
believe
Roma.
you just did that.
Now we blew it, Paul Roma. I am very sorry that I used
Now we have to end the program. Way to go, Mike.
But I will tell you, Paul, on your podcast, if you use any kind of political terminology, logistics terminology, music terminology, you should be punished because you were never a rocker. You never held a real job. And what was the other thing? And you're not a politician. So don't ever use those type of terminology, that type of terminology, right? Because you're not in the business. You're not allowed to do it. So I'm sorry, Paul. I'll try to not use wrestling terminology.
All of us fans that filled your pockets over all these years are cordially invited to shut the fuck up. Go ahead, Mike.
That's fair. Look, respect, right? He said don't use it because it was insulting to him.
Right. Insulting.
So again, please don't talk about musical riffs because you never played an instrument in your life.
No,
you never in a band. Don't talk about musical range because you're not a singer, right? Please don't.
Right.
Stick to wrestling terminology.
Right.
So I called Mario. It was a Sunday, right? And we shoot on Thursdays. It was an honor to speak to him. He was a very nice gentleman.
I'm sure.
I booked the show with him. When we call Thursday to get set up, because we're a television show on cable and we have Jim Beam as a sponsor, we have another very large sponsor coming on. It's very important that we meet the criteria that these sponsors are expecting. Good fucking wine, right?
Yeah.
APB security, right? There's rules involved here.
Yeah.
Mario forgot that he had an interview because, again, we're just nothing. It doesn't matter, right? No respect. So we had to do it over the phone. So that's the technical difficulties we had.
Correct.
And on top of that, Mario's got his set, right? The Greg Valentine story. And he always adds that chuckle and because it's still funny
Killing
after
me.
the 18th time he told the story on everybody's podcast, right?
Whoa.
Right. But
It's
again,
the
we
it's the
were we
19th. It's the 19th time that really gets you though.
absolutely, but we were
Yeah.
happy to have him on because he mentions on Power and Glory, they put legend. Well, yeah, Mario, you are a legend. You did wrestle in Madison Square Garden. You
Yeah.
did wrestle for the WWE, dude.
Yeah.
We did not take a shot at your wrestling career, okay?
No.
Whether
No.
you were enhancement
No.
talent or world champion, that's who the writers decide, okay?
Right.
Not us.
Right.
But what you
Right.
did for the industry was
Right.
very important to getting
Right.
these guys.
Right.
Don't use the word. I'm not going to use
Okay.
that word.
Don't do it.
But
Don't do it.
helping these guys be successful in the
There you go.
script that was written for them.
There
I
you
hope
go.
I did not step over the boundaries.
No, and Mike, and if I can get this out, when I was saying, you're Mario Mancini, I never had your picture on my wall. That's just a fact. It's not a knock on or a disrespect that you weren't a professional wrestler who busted his ass. I love Hogan. Hogan's on my wall. I'm sorry. And instead it turned into 45 minutes of threats. We were threatened. I know we were.
Absolutely.
In insults. We're absolutely nobody. Nobody watches our show. And I do want to ask this one, considering my dad was an accountant for the New York Knicks. You claimed that while we were talking about you, you got a slew. Do you know what slew means, since you want to talk about dictionaries? Okay, you slew, but yet there was only 17 people watching live. Well, which is it, Mario? Was it a slew or was it the 17? And if you think that you've ever helped us increase our ratings, man, whatever you're taking, please mail it kindly to Panama City Beach, because I could use some of that.
Yeah,
All right?
that's for sure.
All right?
That's for
All
sure.
right? And again, I'm sorry, but you know what? I'll take the one missing tooth, which was by my own choice, by the way. No one knocked it out, by the way. And I would much rather look this way than your way. So that's about as far as I'll get with the name calling and all the other nonsense, because you guys spent
and
45
another thing, I want to
minutes
make
doing
something
that.
clear to
I
Mario.
found that pathetic.
I want to make something clear
Answer
to Mario
the question.
too. Mario, just so you know, my partner Jimmy here moved to Florida from New York because he met a woman by the name of Karen McDaniel, who he's now married to, right? They're husband and wife. So, just to get clear that, there is respect there, right? That, you know what I mean? We are pretty respectful. Again, I'm not changing my core values here. I have core values. So, for example, Mancini tells a story how Dr. D. David Schultz broke his nose, right?
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. Okay.
My thought process, he was wearing it like a badge of honor. He broke my nose.
Right.
I took it as he didn't even respect you enough to take care of you in the ring. He busted you up because that's how little he thought about you.
Right. And that was my whole point when we were discussing the Anoa'i beatdown. You know what I mean? And I found it hilarious that Mr. Roma completely missed my point. First of all, I was talking about when I was 25 years old. When I was 25 years old, Mike, you remember, I was a pretty good athlete, and I've always been a fairly tough kid. I don't claim to be Mike Tyson or Sugar Ray Leonard, for God's sakes. However, if I'm 25 years old and pro wrestling is what I've picked, and I've been taking my bumps and I've been doing my training, and no, I never did any of those things, Mr. Roma. I don't claim to be any of that. But if I had, and you're shooting on me, I am going to get up and I'm going to do something, whether it involves biting you in the balls or whatever it takes to defend myself. And I love how you, Mr. Roma.
And wait a minute, Jimmy, not to interrupt you. Yeah. And maybe you'll get your ass kicked doing it, but you're going to stand up for yourself, right?
I'm certainly going to stand up for myself, and I probably most likely would get my ass kicked, Mr. Roma, okay? I understand how tough you guys are. Nobody ever said you weren't tough. But what really bothered me, Mike, is that when you completely and immediately 1,000% assume a stranger isn't tough, you're making a mistake. It doesn't matter who you're talking about. You're making a mistake, okay? Because I'm pretty sure that if you had never heard of Bruce Lee, Mr. Roma, Mr. Mancini, and he walked in the room and decided to screw with you or show you disrespect, or even worse, use a wrestling term, And you think you're just going to knock this stranger all over the place because you're the tough guy and no one else could possibly be tougher than you. Guess what happens to you after Bruce Lee gets finished with both of you? So, in other words, you never ever know who you're talking about, okay? We have nothing but respect for professional wrestlers. I apologize that we ask difficult questions. I think it was more than legitimate and fair to ask, why say something now? And all you had to do, by the way, Mr. Mancini, is pick up the phone or type an email to Mike. Mike is easily accessible. Mike does all the booking for this show, and bless you for that, Michael. All you have to do is do that and say, let me come on, and we'll take care of this. And you know what? It would probably be a great show. We would take care of it, and I'm sure by the end of the conversation, we'd all have respect for each other again. So
I got to go back a little bit, Jimmy, so you understand where the origin of this came from, right?
yeah.
So everybody knows the problems we've had with Lee Cole. Lee, we brought onto our channel when the Ring Boy scandal was dead and buried before anybody was talking about it.
That's
and we
facts.
brought it back to life. These
That's
are all facts.
That is
right?
a fact.
We had Lee's sister on. So there was a falling out between me and Lee because I will explain this. There was a ring boy out there that was pro Mel Phillips. I felt, being the way this show runs and does its business, that person has a right to tell their story too.
Yes, they do.
Lee did not like that, and he felt that it was a backstabbing move. And I told Lee, this isn't about friendship, Lee. This is about giving people the opportunity to tell their story. Right? This is what we do. We take it seriously. Okay? That's where the falling out comes. Me and Lee worked out our issues. Lee was bringing Mario Mancini on. Lee and I speak at least once a week. I said to Lee, can I come on your show? I want to ask Mario a question because I was tired of the same bullshit. I did this, da, 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 da. And he said no, because he wanted to protect Mario. But he said to me, this is all true. I'll ask him the question coming from you. I said, no, Lee, do not do that. I said, I'll just talk about it on my show. Because that's how, listen, I'm sorry. You're a wrestler. Someone you went to school with, a female, comes to you crying, saying she was raped by the owner of the company. But then she turns to you and says, don't say anything. Okay? Don't say anything. Give me 1 second. So, here's what I looked up about the law since, he's threatened to sue us. Okay? If someone discloses that they were raped but asks you not to report it, it's not necessarily a crime. To respect their wishes and not report the incident, depending on the laws in the jurisdiction. However, there's some important considerations to keep in mind. Okay. Mandatory reporting laws. Some professionals, such as teachers, healthcare providers, and social workers, are legally required to report certain crimes, including sexual assault, especially if the victim's a minor, elderly, or otherwise vulnerable, which Rita falls into. Otherwise vulnerable.
Yes.
Okay?
Fair.
If you fall under this mandatory reporter category, you may have a legal obligation to report that incident. So
May.
So she tells Mario not to report it. He doesn't want to report it. Supposedly she tells Andre the Giant, everybody knows the story. Nothing gets done. It gets brushed under the rug. Okay? Minors are vulnerable individuals. If a victim is a minor or is considered vulnerable, someone with a disability, most jurisdictions require reporting authorities, reporting it. Here's the important part, Mario, and this is what I was saying, and it wasn't disrespectful. It's a legitimate question. Ethical consideration. Even if you're not legally required to report, there is an ethical consideration involved, Mario. Respecting the victim's autonomy and choice is important, but so is considering their safety and safety of others. So, Mario, let's play Back to the Future. Last week was Back to the Future Day. Let's play it. Mario, you make the decision to report it anyway. Okay? Maybe all these other so-called victims, we don't know because it's not proven, it never happens because they arrest Vince or the person who did this, supposedly.
Right.
And he goes to jail.
Right.
But I understand, Mario. We'll say it again like we said it last week. You're afraid for your job. You need the money. I get it.
Oh, I get it too.
Everybody gets it.
I get it.
Okay, it happens every day.
Yes.
Okay?
It does. I
But my
completely get it.
question now is this. 23 years later, you're get my hand in this. You're talking. And you're talking because you want people to watch you. You're talking because you're doing a documentary. Yes, you are, from what I understand, from what I've been told. If I'm wrong, I apologize. Just being told what, right? So you're talking when it doesn't matter. And you said Rita, you wrote Jimmy on social media, which is documented, that Rita is really upset. I don't know why she's upset. We're asking you that. I'll ask you the question differently, Mario, and you can talk about it and not talk about it, whatever. Did you make a mistake by not reporting it? And if you did, do you feel guilty? And would you have done it differently last time? There's nothing wrong with that. People make mistakes all the time.
Absolutely. They do.
But here lies the other problem, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Mario also has been on shows where he said he knew about the Ring Boy scandals. And when he was on Lee's show, they talked about the Ring Boy scandals because that's what Lee talks about, right? He lost a brother. Totally get it. We've discussed that, right?
Yeah.
But Lee didn't ask him, where were you? Right? Didn't ask, where were you?
I'm thinking domino effects. Could you imagine if someone had the bravery to step up, in those earliest of accusations? It could have been a domino effect in such a positive way to put a stop to any of these alleged things over the years.
The allegedly accusations are true.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I agree.
But then he brought up that we didn't bring up Bruno Sammartino or superstar Billy Graham.
Oh,
right?
Yes, we have.
Explain to the people out there what happened with one of the OGs, John Arezzi, when he's in studio and the Ring Boy scandal came up. Can you share John Arezzi's thoughts and then what we asked him?
Well, I remember asking where was Bruno when the Ring Boy scandal was happening? What was Bruno doing about it? Because Bruno is always, look, in the public's eye, Bruno can do no wrong, okay? And Bruno is a living legend, and his legend will outlive all of us, way beyond in the history books. But where was Bruno Sammartino when this was happening? Bruno had to have enough clout to be able to walk up to Vince McMahon and senior or junior and say, "Are you kidding me? Do you realize what's going on here?" And for when I asked that simple question, where was Bruno? Why didn't Bruno stand up? John Arezzi blew his top. He blew his top. Like, how dare we even question the great Bruno? Listen,
that's right.
Listen, attention, everyone in the building. Our family at home knows this, that watches the show all the time. But for those of you who are just getting used to us, we do not idol worship. We do not cater to false idols, okay? We love and respect who we love and respect. Hogan, oh man, he's up there. Bruno, oh man, he's up there. But we will not dodge a real, important human question that means something. Okay, that's all this was, Mr. Mancini. I am not going to go into a slew. Hey, slew. You like how I use that? I'm not going to go into a slew of insults on you. Okay, nothing but respect for you and your career. It's a legitimate question. Personally, Mike, I'd probably say nothing and feel like shit the rest of my life. Okay, so I'm being as honest as I can. I'd feel like shit about it, but I'd probably say nothing either if I'm trying to keep my damn job.
Here, I'll share something with you, right? I won't get too deep into it. But when I was in the military, I saw some things, right? I was 19, 20 or whatever. I just
I
got
can
out of
imagine.
college, right?
Right.
And I saw some things happen. I didn't do a thing. I kept my mouth shut, right? Do I regret it? Absolutely. Did I make a
Yeah.
mistake? Absolutely. Do I try not to make that mistake ever again? I mean, that's why I guess some of this stuff is so serious to me.
Right. Because
You know
you've
what I
seen
mean?
you've seen the highest level of seriousness. You were in the Gulf War.
But
That's a pretty high level there, buddy.
my point to Mr. Mancini is, and if we did have that first interview and he was on camera, that was a question we were going to ask, all right?
Right.
But over the
Right.
phone, it like you could barely
Yeah.
hear what he had. It doesn't matter.
It's very choppy.
So
It's very
again,
difficult
I
to have
want to reiterate that
interaction.
we just wanted to hear your answer.
That's
Like
it.
I'll ask you this. You were on Cheap Heat podcast, right? That's Hannibal's network. Some dude from
Okay.
Canada runs. I think he's on there all the time.
Okay.
There's a video out there.
Mhm.
His words are, everybody knew Jimmy killed that girl. Straight out of the horse's mouth.
Right. Followed up by, well, duh.
But here's the question. So when the WWE's over and you're running an independent circuit, did you still drive around with Jimmy Snuka? Don't know if he did or not, okay? I can't tell you. But if you did, I ask you, why? Is that fair to ask, Jimmy?
It's fair to ask.
Right? You're not trying to keep your job. You're running an independent circuit, right?
Right.
So you're basically getting paid from whatever booker's booking you for the day. Why would you drive around with someone who took, okay, allegedly, got to keep using the word allegedly because I don't know. But according to Mr. Mancini on Cheap Heat, and by the way, guys, look it up. It's there.
Right.
Everyone knew.
Right. Right.
I got problems with that, Jimmy.
You should have problems with that, and I don't see any reason why he can't answer those questions without
He doesn't
taking
have to
it
answer to
personally.
this. Maybe he could go on Power and Glory and answer it. And you know what? It might be as simple as this. I was scared.
That'd
I
be
made
fair.
a mistake.
That'd be fair.
You know what? And it's like, got it.
Right.
Understood.
Absolutely.
Because we're all scared. We all make mistakes.
Yeah, we do. We do.
But we're not doing our job if we don't ask the question. I mean, to be honest with you, as much as I love Lee Cole, he should have asked him the question. If you really care about what went on to your brother, you should have asked him that question.
Right. Right. I agree. And I'm very, very surprised, by the way, that Lee didn't. Tell you the truth. Lee strikes me as he don't take no crap.
I'll tell you why. Lee Cole in the core is a sweetheart.
Oh, he's a good guy.
In his core, he's a good person. He's hurt over his brother.
As he should be.
As he should be.
As he should be.
And he's a good guy. But as I told Lee when I was having that other ring boy on, you have a job to do. And you know what? If Mario Mancini got upset because you asked him that question, then that's not fair, Mario. Because that's a legit question to ask. It's not trying to humiliate you. It's trying to understand the human body and the human frailty of life. Right?
Yeah.
We have to be better as a nation, Mario. You should know this. We have to be better people. We're only here for this amount of time on Earth. We make so many mistakes. We have to make a change. And you know what? Someone asking you a question like, Rita, or the ring boy, or why did you drive in a car with Jimmy Snuka, which I don't know if you did, hypothetically. Why did you?
Right.
When you clearly said everybody knew. I know this, Jimmy. The 19-year-old Mike would be scared rabbit probably in certain situations.
Sure.
You know, maybe his answer is, hey, Monty, I was 23 years old. I'm an idiot. I was an idiot.
Right.
Got it.
Right.
I got it. It's all good.
No argument here, man. You're making nothing but too much sense. I can't even respond to it because it's sensical.
But this is what, you know what? That's what we did on the first show, but it seemed like everybody thought we were attacking him. Number one, Sir, you are a legend. Whether you believe it or not, you're a legend. Okay. Everybody knows who Mario Mancini is, especially if you love the WWE. Okay.
Right.
Everybody knew
Right.
who it was. Okay.
Of
From
course.
what I understand from knowing the guys, you're a hell of a sweetheart. You're a good guy. You're a nice guy. I don't know
Right.
you personally. When I talk to you on the phone, you're a nice guy. I know from personal relationship that we had for that short time, you're a terrible scheduler. You are. Or you have no respect, right? It's one or the other, right? So it's either you can't schedule yourself or you don't give a shit about the ordinary Joe who shows you a million respect.
I waited like 4 or 5 hours to get insulted. It's like the show will be on in an hour. The show will be on in 3 hours. The show will be on. I'm like, hurry up and get to insulting me already. You're making me wait forever. Can you start on time?
I think what it shows, Jimmy, is that Paul Roma and Mario Mancini really don't think much about the common man.
No. Well, at least not too much about the wrestling fan.
Well, that's not fair because I don't know if they treat wrestling fans right, but I guess. All right, let me
We're
put this.
not allowed to use the language. What do you mean?
That's true.
What are you
Every
talking
wrestling
about?
fan,
We're
right?
not even allowed to use the language. In this day and age, the curtain got torn open 30 years ago. And in this day and age, we're not allowed to say work. We're not allowed to say shoot. We're not allowed to say put them over. Of course we're allowed to say that. That's part of freedom of speech. We're the people who put the money in your pockets for decades. We're the people who are still going to put the money in your pocket for decades. And I got respect for both of you, by the way. Okay? You're going to still make appearances. Fans are still going to show up to see both of you because you meant something in this business, and they're going to give you their hard-earned cash. If they want to use the term shoot or work or put over, you should be grateful. Those are terms of respect, and we do respect all of you. Mike, I'm good, man. I'm good. Enough.
Well, dude, I'm not because I want to talk about this guy up on the screen.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
What were your thoughts of him and his commentary on his podcast about you and myself?
Well, I can tell that he's never really watched this at all, and that's fine because, hey, you're one of many who haven't really probably discovered much about us.
Right.
I know that when we go to conventions, every single wrestler, for the most part, seems to know who the hell we are, but it looks like you didn't. You ruined the Four Horsemen. You were the jumping of the shark, okay? And that is my right as a fan to have that opinion. I can have an opinion on your career. I am allowed, okay? I don't want to fight you. I don't think that I would stand much of a chance fighting you.
Wait a minute. Think about this. He wants
to beat us up.
That dude's got to be 60-something years old.
I still don't want to fight him.
You're not listening though.
Yeah,
Who's fighting? Who's fighting?
That's
stupid. It's dumb. It's dumb commentary.
You're right. I'm going to go.
And here's the other thing. It's low-hanging fruit to go, one guy needs a dictionary and the other guy looks like he needs teeth in his mouth. It's just low-hanging fruit, man. It's
easy stuff.
It's like, okay.
Right.
You think I need a dictionary? Congratulations. Right. I don't know. You think my partner needs teeth in the mouth? Okay.
I look cooler than Paul Roma. I ain't worried about it.
But my point is, it's baby bullshit. You know what I mean?
Of course it is.
Maybe the response should have been, who are they to ask us this question? Who are they to ask that question?
Right. That's fair. Instead of 45 minutes of insults and a bunch of threats, I was just like, what is this?
Well, again,
look, we have a right to
two
ask
wrestlers
questions.
that had stories written for them. They can't stick to their story. First, no one listens to us. Then everybody listens to us. And then if you keep talking, we're going to sue you. And then and then we're going to beat you up. Then you're doing physical threats. You can't. You got to stay on something. Stay focused.
What about this psychotic comment? I'll kind of paraphrase. Anytime a couple of bullets go through you, nobody's a tough guy. Wait a minute. What did you just say?
Yeah. Hello.
What the? And you're gonna legally do what? What? What is wrong with you? He's really mad that Horseman thing didn't work out.
The funny thing is, he says at one point, he's like, I was gonna sue Vince McMahon or something or whatever, and then the lawyer said to him, "You better not." Vince is involved in the mafia or something. And I'm thinking to myself, well, Vince is still alive. So if he was involved in the mafia, what's the difference you saying it now and then?
Right.
Right?
Right.
What's
There
the
really
difference?
is. There
is
really
no
is
difference, right? There's no difference.
Right. And by the way, some good friends of mine are. You ever read the book The Westies? Since he's so interested in mob stuff, read the book The Westies. I got some buddies in the book there. Enjoy
Again,
yourself.
my point
It
is
just makes me laugh. It's just
the
like,
whole
what?
conversation, Jimmy, was about why didn't you do something? Why didn't you do something? Why didn't you do something? And instead it was, I wrestled in Madison Square Garden. I held Roddy Piper back. David Schultz broke my nose. And?
No, yeah.
Great. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. Nobody was saying anything to kick him down on his wrestling accomplishments. I mean, crap. Mike, if we could say to each other we wrestled in Madison Square Garden, well, hey, I'm good.
Let me tell you something.
I'm good.
If you had the opportunity
to
play in front of 26,000 people in Madison Square Garden, damn pretty great job, Mario Mancini.
Absolutely.
That's from the heart. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Congratulations. I mean,
yes.
Thank you, because you know what? Me and Jimmy love growing up watching guys like you. You guys were great. You entertained us. You know, by me asking or Jimmy asking you about why you didn't do something, that's not attacking you as a wrestler. It is attacking you, though, as a person. I mean, attacking, it's challenging you, right? Because, Mario, here's the deal. Think about it this way.
I think challenging is a much better word.
You ready for the man who needs addiction? And again, I keep joking about it because it doesn't bother me. Trust me, it doesn't.
Okay.
Trust me. If you would have come on, you didn't have to say it does. If you just went on Power and Glory and said, you know what, I'm going to answer that question, and I should have, would have, or could have. Maybe that other scared 20-year-old would all of a sudden get the balls because Mario Mancini said something.
Right.
So we understand you were scared. We understand. And I'm not saying you were scared. I'm guessing. I don't know. You never answered the question. You were scared. You were worried. You're too young. A million questions. Maybe if you would have said something now, instead of worrying about what the fuck is going on with Vince McMahon and allegedly shitting on someone's head, maybe make a difference now, Mario.
Right.
And speak up and say, I should have done something. I should have said something.
Mike, you know what? The timing of it all feels like low-hanging fruit.
It's all low-hanging fruit, bro.
And that's the way it was.
There's a little pause here, right? Because this is some serious shit. And again, if you don't think we're making sense or we're attacking you or a bunch of assholes because we've never done anything in the ring, think again, because this is what's wrong with this world right now. No one cares about the other person. And that's the whole point of this whole thing. Not to embarrass you, but you know what? To make a difference, dude. You would make more of a difference by speaking up now, what you should have done, than talking about your accomplishments in professional wrestling. Just saying, man.
I don't think there's anything that you're saying is wrong, bro. I mean, somebody had to stand up. That's been our whole point, whether it was the Ring Boy scandal, whether it was this situation with the young lady referee. If these things were really happening, then why the hell were you not someone? Say something. Do something. You know, it could have caused a chain reaction in a very, very positive way. You know, and it's a legitimate question.
Maybe it never happened. We don't know.
Right.
We don't
There's
know.
always that now, isn't there? Because
but guess what? We'll never know. Why? Because no one ever did anything. And then the other thing they said, which was kind of telling, I guess, is you don't understand what it was like. What do you mean? Do you think real life isn't like professional wrestling? Do you think this stuff doesn't go on in real life? Or what is wrong with you?
Right. Happens all the time.
It's like nothing goes on outside the real world? I mean,
dude, you can even break it down in football. His name is escaping me, but who was the bully from the Dolphins that bullied the other guy so badly he never played football again? He was so fucked up from it. I mean, it happens in every walk of life. It happens in every
But
walk of life.
you know what? You'll still, after all the talking we did, you're going to still get the people that go, how dare you talk to a legend like that?
Right.
I don't know how to answer that question. But I will say this. Another statement that was said was, I bet you if they saw these people in real life, they wouldn't. They're keyboard warriors. I ain't no keyboard warrior. And guess what? You probably could kick the shit out of me, but you think I'm scared? No, I'm not scared. What am I scared about? There's nothing to be scared about. The only thing you can do to me is kill me, and then it's over anyway, right? That's the end. Yeah, that's all we got, right? You're gonna kill me.
Spoken like a true Jet fan.
Well, I mean, I just never heard of shit like this before in my life.
No, I haven't either.
And Jimmy's off, so it's just me then, until he comes back on. Oh, there he is. What happened? You button?
I didn't touch a thing there,
You got
Mike.
scared. You got scared.
Well, for a second, I thought I heard a knock on my door. I was getting a little nervous. I was going to turn out the lights over here and hide under the table.
So anyway, look, coming back at 9 o'clock for the main show. Jimmy, I want to thank you for talking to me about this, and I want to thank everybody for joining us. Whether you agree with us or don't agree with us, that's what makes this country great, right? The right to agree and disagree without threatening someone physically, right?
Absolutely.
And be able to talk it out like adults.
Yeah, and I'll do one further. If you do happen to be going to a wrestling convention and you are a fan of Paul Romer, if you're a fan of Mario Mancini, by all means go up and support them, because they are the ones that you watched when you were a kid.
Absolutely.
Okay, and that's the bottom line. Because Monte the Pharaoh said so. Sorry, Steve. Don't get mad at me. What? What?
With that, my friend, I will see you in about, I don't know, if I do the math right, 27 minutes. No, 17 minutes.
Excellent.
I guess I need a calculator, too.
Geez, a dictionary and a calculator. Well, this has been Monte and the Webster and the Pharaoh, and This Week in Wrestling. And we'll see you in approximately 17 minutes. Just enough time to go take care of some business. Later.